What's up? Happy Memorial of 9/11 Day, if that is even a thing. Right? No, I'm kidding. It is a thing. Hello. Welcome to, well, technically it's after 9/11 now, but it was 9/11 on Monday, and I started this stream right before midnight, so technically I made the cut. And I'm not going to go too much about 9/11, but I do want to say, as somebody whose mom almost was taken in 9/11 and who then helped protect American lives post 9/11, I just want to say that 9/11 was a day that was both impactful on America and in other parts of the world. You know, 9/11 was a day where American lives were lost. Innocent American lives were lost. And it also represented the start of a 20-year conflict in a country where terrorists were killed and innocent civilians were killed. So I don't really do the whole take a moment, like a moment to like silence or anything like that. Or, I'm not, I don't really have anything special like that. But I would just like to recognize that, there's not, America was not the only people affected on 9/11, even in the Middle Eastern community, and while America did suffer casualties, and we won't forget those people. There's also another country that suffered casualties because of terrorist ideology. So, to both America and those of you in other countries who are innocent casualties of a war caused by terrorism, cheers to life, happiness, and finding ways to resolve conflicts without more violence. So that's my little 9/11 thing. Nothing too crazy, but very impactful. So thank you for that. Welcome back to the Animus. Animus. Can we sync it up? Synkity sync? Sync-a-rooney? Need a little sync here? Hold on, I'll be right back. We have a delicious mukbang for tonight. And boy, do I have some interesting perspectives for you. Be right back. Okay. So today I've made a delicious treat that some of you in Arizona may have noticed about a year ago. Sonic did a thing. So when I first got to Arizona, I was making all kinds of food, and one of the foods that I made was a delicious barbecue, bacon, onion burger. You can't see the burger, it's in there. And I've got some other special ingredients. And Sonic made a very similar sandwich. So, thank you, Sonic, for kind of representing some of my ideas. I appreciate that. Some of you wonder how I ended up I'm in a pretty unique situation in this Animus experience. Box guy. Box guy. Box guy. Box mod. Inside joke. So I've been investigating some very actually serious crimes on my own. And I know there are a lot of agencies out there who've also been investigating, but I feel like they gave me the power to investigate my own crime and then divulge certain aspects of that investigation. And I've been in a situation where I feel like people have interfered with my mail, interfered with my voting ballot. The last election I actually mailed in a voting ballot, and I still wonder whether it actually got to the destination that it was supposed to get to. And it makes me wonder, what kind of people are capable of being able to break all these laws and not get in trouble? Right? They'd even have to be like a criminal organization, or it would have to be a government agency being used by a criminal organization. And so that made me think, I've reached out to government agencies about various issues that I feel are very important on an anti-terrorism level even. And then, the communication's been really odd. Almost like there's a war going on between different agencies in the United States. And so I started thinking, well, the cartel definitely have a hand in this, right? Cartel have been trying to take power in the United States for various reasons. So how can the cartel feel comfortable in America and also take power? They would have to take control of a government agency, right? Maybe not the entire agency, but maybe like an agency in one city, and then go to another city and take their agency. And it made me think, well, of all the agencies, who do the cartel are, so the DEA and the cartel have been enemies for years. So the DEA, if the cartel tried to infiltrate the DEA would probably kill them. So that didn't make sense. And I'm like, well, what about CIA? Well, no, they're enemies. CIA, you guys ever see Sicario? CIA and cartel, no bueno either. So then I was like, what about the FBI? FBI these past decades have been under scrutiny. If there is controversy, there's a Democratic president in power who doesn't want to make the FBI look bad. Got an upcoming presidential election. Even if there was an investigation going on, why wait now until after the and then everything can come out nice and peacefully. But at the same time, there's a need for the American public to be safe. So I'm not saying this is actually happening, but based on my spidey senses, I believe there's a possibility that elements of the FBI, starting in Los Angeles and then moving into Arizona, have been infiltrated and compromised by the cartel. And I believe people like the CIA and the DEA have been trying to expose it. And I think that's part of the reason I've been having such problems. There's been an infighting of different agencies. And they're all trying to figure out who's on whose team. If I had to put my thumb on it, the people most susceptible to being compromised by the cartel, and another reason why I think it's the FBI, the cartel feel comfortable. For the past 4 years, the cartel have felt very comfortable. Why would the cartel feel comfortable? They would have to have their hands on an investigative agency like a federal government agency. That's in my mind, the only way the cartel could feel comfortable in the United States was if they had control of the police. Just like in Mexico. And I think, well, the state's easy to control. It's possible. It takes time. The cartel saw how long it took in California, and they saw what the methods were, so they moved it to a different, smaller state, Arizona. Well, why not just use the federal government to tell the state what to do? They have experience. Medical marijuana in Los Angeles. Marijuana and medical type scenarios have been a basis for states to overrule federal jurisdiction. So since the 90s, the cartel have been experimenting, because let's be honest, the cartel are definitely involved in the medical marijuana game. They're not the only ones, but they definitely found a way, right? So the cartel have been experimenting with different ways to see how to gain power and businesses and legitimacies and to get around the federal government. And then there's their tactic of temptation. Here's what we're finding out about cartel strategy. Temptation. Adam and Eve. The apple in the garden. Now, what kind of things would the cartel use as temptation to then blackmail and bribe government officials and political officials? They know how to do it with the civilian population. They've been doing it for the past 2 decades. So they moved to the next big fish, the federal government. So they started using the same techniques that worked in Hollywood, and they brought it to the federal government. So then this goes back to my original thinking. Well, the DEA and the cartel have been enemies all these years. They ain't going to infiltrate the DEA. DEA will kill their ass. CIA? They'll kill their ass too. So which federal agency would be most susceptible to cartel intrusion? FBI. FBI has the ability to tell state officials what to do. FBI can intercept mail. FBI can intercept texts. FBI can intercept calls. FBI can manipulate emails. Cartel infiltrate the FBI. They got their hands on a lot of American surveillance. And I just think it's funny that it would happen to be on 9/11 when all the dots would get put together. Kind of like 9/11, by the way. And I don't want to go too much on 9/11, but different government agencies on 9/11 were aware that something was going on. But they couldn't put the pieces or the dots together in time. What if you could put the dots and the pieces together in time? Some of you might call me crazy. Some of you say I'm insane. Some of you think I just need to shut the fuck up. Well, if you did have intelligence and you could put the dots together, allow me to theorize what might be happening. So I have a theory. That's a really good burger, by the way. I made a really good burger. Allow me to theorize that the FBI, starting in Los Angeles, were infiltrated by the cartel based on decades of experience blackmailing and bribing public officials and civilians in Hollywood who have immense power, then using their power to infiltrate government agencies. All they needed was one government agency. It's taken a couple years for people to put the pieces together, but I think it's finally there, along with the evidence necessary to prosecute. And here's one of the things that worries me. In just a few years, we went from Kobe Bryant being alive to Kobe Bryant being dead. One of Los Angeles' most beloved figures. Let me give you a little idea of who Kobe Bryant is. Okay? I've never been to a Kobe Bryant Laker game. I am born and raised Los Angeles, and I have never been to a Kobe Bryant Laker game. But as a Los Angelian, I have watched my fair share of Kobe games, and they have lifted my spirit as a sports fan. Kobe Bryant to Los Angeles is a goddamn fucking icon. For Kobe Bryant to die in the kind of helicopter accident that he died in, which, by the way, happened not miles from me while I was a homeless person, is astonishing. But that's not what the second two-factor verification is. The second part that confuses me, how the fuck did the Staples Center go from Staples Center to the coin thing? For the city of Los Angeles to lose one of their beloved and protected icons, followed by the loss of the name of the Staples Center where Kobe played all those years, that's like the goddamn fucking Coliseum, man. Something ain't right. Something not right with that picture. There's something not right with Kobe Bryant dying and then the Staples Center being renamed. That doesn't add up as somebody who was born and raised in Los Angeles. Doesn't add up. So what kind of group of people can do something like that? Well, obviously there's Bitcoin influence or coin influence, and that's a topic I got for you. And by the way, I'm going to criticize Bitcoin and the coin economy, and I'm going to criticize it as somebody who's related to somebody who's invested heavily in Bitcoin. I am related to somebody who is very much involved in the coin world. I've never been paid any Bitcoin by them. I've never received any payments in Bitcoin by them. If they funded my life with coin, would I be having a different perspective? Maybe, but as it such is, I view Bitcoin and the coin economy from a different context. Not somebody who's received it, but as somebody who sees it as an economy trying to impact other economies based on a money laundering scam. So you got Los Angeles losing Kobe, and then they go from Staples Center to Coin Arena. Not vibing. Sorry. The local Hispanic population obviously loves Kobe, but if cartel are coming in trying to change society, they're looking to make power plays. They don't give a shit who Kobe is. I think the local Hispanic population cared more about Kobe than the cartel did. Honestly, I really believe that. Because the cartel are a Mexico thing. And they come to the Los Angeles and the California and try to change politics and gain power. But it's not their technical home. They have a Hispanic representation, but their home is Mexico. Technically speaking, their cartel home is Mexico, not Los Angeles. So I personally don't think they have an attachment to Kobe as much as the local Hispanic population or the African American population do. So something not right with Kobe dying and the Staples Center getting renamed. That doesn't add up. And then you got this whole law enforcement world doing weird fucking things. You got the law enforcement world just doing all kinds of weird things. So something not adding up there. What does make sense are the sheriff's department and the Los Angeles PD have definitely been infiltrated by gangs and cartel members. Not even a question. And if they've been able to infiltrate them, if they've been able to infiltrate that, over decades of experience, they basically got control of Los Angeles. So they needed the next best thing, the federal government. Now they weren't winning political elections, right? But they could do the next best thing. They could feel safe and protected like they did with the local police and sheriff's department. And they can gain the next layer of protection, a federal agency. Which agency to choose? ATF really doesn't have a presence in Los Angeles, does it? So ATF is more of like a Midwest kind of thing. So you really have the FBI, the DEA, and, they got other, you got Russians and you got, Asian communities with probably their own kind of like community that protects each other, and that's understandable. So they probably have their own kind of protection thing going on. But, realistically, federal agencies, you've got DEA, FBI, and unnamed agencies circulating in Los Angeles. So which one would you go for? You can't take Sacramento, but you can take a federal agency. Which one? DEA and the cartel, they're so much fucking enemies that they'll kill anybody who even thinks they're cartel. That's the DEA. The DEA will eliminate anybody who even thinks they're cartel. The DEA doesn't associate with cartel at all. That's how the DEA work. DEA ain't cartel. Let me put it this way. DEA ain't cartel. You know why? Because they kill the cartel if they try to infiltrate the DEA. And the cartel know that because they've tried to infiltrate the DEA. They have. They have tried. Can't get to the CIA either because they're way over the, they are way next level. CIA is like, honestly, I salute you. Honestly. CIA and other intelligence agencies on a similar capacity, you guys are awesome. You guys and girls, all you peoples. All of you peoples who, bravo. And other government agencies of the world, all of you intelligence agents, thank you. Because even if they can read our biological signatures, we are strong enough and we are powerful enough to keep the world a better place. And that's why we stay alive. Plus, intelligence agencies aren't all killing, it's right in the name, intelligence. They gather intelligence. So you're not going to get to the CIA. So what's left? The FBI. How do you get to the FBI? Well, there's this whole thing in religion, and the cartel are definitely associated with the religious-minded, perspective, right? They attach themselves to the Christian community, which represents a large portion of America, and has deep, kind of like, has ties to politics, even though there is separation of church and state. But they definitely have a political presence, so they latch onto the Christian community for protection. Different method of power, right? So they need a federal agency, FBI. That's the only one that makes sense. So for the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a lot of running around, confusion, misdirection about this investigation that's been going on. And if there was a federal agency treason enough and traitorous enough to be complicit in such a misdirection on a federal level, the only agency that makes sense is the FBI. Now, I'm not saying that every FBI agent is somebody who's doing something wrong. What I'm saying is that from Los Angeles to Arizona, there needs to be some serious question marks in regards to your federal agencies. Specifically, the FBI. Specifically, Los Angeles and Arizona. The city of Los Angeles and the state of Arizona. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be special attention there. Because if I'm somebody who's smart enough to gather intelligence and see things for how they are, I'm witnessing a lot of connections and dots and intelligence and information. And if I have the ability to create some type of way to prevent something bad from happening, or to slow down the progress of a criminal organization, or what I would consider, honestly, in a lot of ways, cartel act like terrorists. They're complicit like terrorists. I don't see why they're not terrorists, personally. I think, honestly, the only reason I think the cartel aren't considered a terrorist organization is because they latch on to Christianity. I think if it wasn't for the Christian group, like the Christian collective as a whole, they would be considered a terrorist organization. I honestly believe that. So if the Christians, who protect them ever decided to disassociate themselves, they would probably get labeled like a terrorist just like that. So as somebody who is smart enough to observe things that are going on in a very odd fashion, there are question marks involving the FBI, the cartel, and their view of power and misdirection and altering investigations, misrepresenting investigations, intercepting emails, phone calls, U.S. postal mail. Did you know fucking with U.S. postal mail is actually a federal crime? Then you stack that up with voter intimidation. You stack that up with interfering with a voting ballot as an individual, which are all federal crimes. Things start to stack up. So, some of you might call me crazy, and some others might think maybe there is an investigative pattern and dot trail there. Maybe there is legitimacy to some of this investigative thinking. Maybe there is coercion going on in federal agencies that are affecting presidential elections. The Senate and the House and the Congress, those might be safe, which, by the way, are a good thing because the presidency of the United States isn't the only one with power in the United States. The president of the United States has a lot of power, and most of their power comes from their leadership. But a lot of power also comes from the Senate, the House, and the Congress, voting on policy and legislation to help protect Americans' rights, not restrict them. Although, depending on who you ask, that's a whole different topic of conversation. So, as somebody who's been witnessing a lot of weird and strange events in my life, personally speaking, for about 4 to 5 years, these are some of my investigative theories, whether they're truth, fiction, fact, nonfiction, probably will be determined by people who are capable of investigating. People who are capable of keeping America safe. Until then, all I can do is offer theories on opinions and perspectives that I'm witnessing and experiencing myself to try and help make America a safer place, a more protected place, and a place where our rights are not just read and viewed, but valued, respected, and actually implemented for all Americans. All of us. All right, so that's Assassin's Creed. I've assassinated the FBI. I'm out of here. You know what, though? Honestly, this is information that I think maybe would be best by absorbing it. So, honestly, today, in honor of 9/11, in honor of keeping America safe and remembering those who died to represent our rights and values as individuals. Because you know what makes America a place that values our individualism? It's our ability to vote. So on that note, I wish you a good night. I thank you for stopping by for this brief moment. And I hope you understand my theory and, if possible, investigate it to determine whether it's fact or fiction. Because I can only do so much as a civilian without causing a ruckus or without being attacked by people who think I'm causing a ruckus. I'm Moose. I guess I'm still loose. Thanks for hanging out for this brief moment. And I'll see you next time. I will. Because this is a fun adventure. And, you know, some of you like surprises. So surprise, I really am investigating real life problems. But as far as I'm aware, they're just theories. Problemed theories, you know. That hopefully, with the correct amount of investigative, know-how, might prove into some legitimate and fact-based country-saving stuff. So, I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. I love you. Peace, love, unity, respect. And have a good one. Bye. Bye.